he would have a pot and he would have a white cloth, which is not quite white. It's a dirty cloth, but he had only that. So he would cover it with that. And then there was a not so clean tumbler. And if anybody came tired and hungry and thirsty, he would immediately put out the only chair he had, say, please sit. Can I give you a cup of water? And then he would give some cool water day after day after day. This is the only service that he was doing. Otherwise, he was doing the repair of the cycle and he would hardly get any money out of it. So one day, the writer of the story, the protagonist, he comes there, and then this man immediately, with a smile, with love, he offers a cup of water and he just puts a wobbly stool, please sit. And then the protagonist, he drinks that water, it's life-giving. This cool water after so much walk in the sun. And then he asks, why are you here? You have got a shop also. Who comes here? How can you earn money? He said, no, I have to earn money. So I'm running a shop, but I'm living here near the master because there's nobody to look after the stone. But sometimes people come and I want to do some service to them, but this is all I can do. They come very thirsty and tired. So I can give them a cup of water and I feel very happy about it. This is my service to the master. The master is a Sufi. And that is when the protagonist would look up at the eyes of the man, the eyes would be shining. And suddenly this man, protagonist, sits up and looks at him again. And then he finds the man is quite advanced spiritually. And he has earned this just by giving a cup of water. Just this service alone. In Jnanananda Tapovanam, Tirukkovilur, there's one Tirukkovilur near, 1 hour from here. There used to be a man. His job was to give rice for that day's cooking. He had to give so many measures of rice. Every day, day after day after day, this was the only function, it was the only task he was expected to do, and he would put his entire being into it. And he would do it as service to Swami Ananda. He would not stop to gossip with anybody. He would not complain. He would do the simple act of service day after day after day. And Jnanananda one day declared this man to be highly advanced. He said he did nothing. There was no meditation, no struggle, no self-inquiry, no chanting the name. He was merely doing this one simple act in the ashram of his master, the act of giving so many measures of rice for cooking, without grumbling, without complaining. Just this act. He did not do anything else. And he progressed so fast. So, when we have come under the refuge of these people, we have to see how they have lived, because their very living is their message to us. We have to live a very simple life and serve people without expectations, with a smile, and do it as our service, our puja to the master. This was another thing that Yogi Ram Surakumar taught me. And then he says, there's another saying, he says, Shiva, when the ocean of milk was churned, with the Devas on one side and the Asuras on the other side, this hala poison came out. When we do spiritual practices vigorously, we have gathered impressions of our past lives, as latent tendencies in us, which are called vasanas. So we bring them with us. Every time we take birth, it's there. There's a gunny bag of latent tendencies, some scars or vasanas inside. And so we are activated by these vasanas all the time, and we have to purify ourselves of these vasanas. So, how do we go about it? That we come under the influence of a master, and the master is there to protect us. How does he protect? When you do service for the sake of the master, just as Shiva, when these people, as you said, when we do this practice, the vasanas could be evil, could be good also. It will be both mixed. And during your spiritual practice, this churning takes place inside. Like when you start cleaning up the dust in a room, the dust will all come out and then they will float up there. And the room will look dirtier than before. Have you seen that? It's an experience, common experience. So when you begin to tidy up the room. So here also when we start doing spiritual practices, there is a churning. So the deep-rooted vasanas, good or bad, they will start coming up. They'll be stirred. And Shiva took the poison and gave only the nectar to those people who churned it. This is what our Guru is doing all the time in our life. He turns all the poison of our life into nectar for us. If we have the trust in Him, if we work for Him. So the saying says that my father would turn all the adverse circumstances, all the difficult situations into blessings for those people who work for this beggar. Which means in general, those who work for God, their difficult situations in life will turn into blessings. This is an assurance for all of us. We have to have this faith that our Master is there. He would he would absorb all this poison into Himself and change the situation into a blessing. Meaning, we have to see everything as a blessing. Whatever life brings to you is what God gives you through life. Every little event, every big event, every detail of your life is governed only by God. So whatever life brings you is only from God, straight from God. We have to learn to accept it as a blessing. So when you begin to accept things, you will find there is so much peace. In acceptance is everything in life. In acceptance is your peace. In acceptance is your joy, your balance of mind. Yogiji accepted everything as grace. If he got something to eat, it was God's grace. If he did not get anything at all to eat, it was still God's grace. He was beaten up by people. There was blood all over the body. So when his attendants came to know about it, they came running to the spot, and seeing the attendants, the rowdies ran away. But the attendants asked Bhagavan, Bhagavan, please let us go after them and beat them up, give them a good lesson so that they won't touch you ever again. But he said, they have done their work, we will do Father's work. How many times we are abused by people in life, and for no reason at all. Sheer ego clash. They are doing their work. It is not for us to retaliate. but to accept it as a blessing. And that's where you have faith in the Master that He will absorb all the poison and leave only blessings to you. So everything that happens is only a blessing. I believe once when somebody had beaten up Bhagwan, there was one man by his side, and immediately he came running. And he said, Swami, I don't have anything else except a 10 rupee note. I give it to you. You do some things so that you apply, you buy some medicine for that and you apply all over it. Yogiji said, no, no, all this is Father's blessing. You don't bother. And then, because the man came forward with this idea of service to him, Yogiji wanted to do something. So Yogiji smiled and said, out of the blue, he said, in